Hello everyone, I hope you're having a fabulous day. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today I'm excited. I've been invited by Stampendous to be part of the Ugly Sweater Holiday Challenge, and we get to play with this cute little stamp set called Cool Penguin. It's a stamp and die set. Has a cute little hat on there, sweater, and then of course that cute little penguin. Stampendous actually sent this set out to several designers, and we are going to be posting our ugly sweaters over on the Stampendous blog, and you guys get to vote for your favorite ugly sweater, and there's a chance to win this stamp set, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that when I color in my penguin. But we're going to start off by stamping the penguin and the hat and the sweater on a piece of Neenah 80-pound cardstock. Now these stamps are not photopolymer, they are rubber, but they stamp beautifully. I'll ink them up with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I'm going to color in these images with my Copic markers, and I did leave the coloring in. I'll just zoom in, and instead of playing music, I thought I'd tell you a little bit more about this challenge. Now, like I said, Stampendous sent this set out to several designers, and we are all posting over on the Stampendous blog. And you guys get to vote on your favorite ugly sweater, and there are tons of cute. I'm going to do a little oxymoron here. There are some cute ugly sweaters over there. So you just leave a comment on your favorite sweater at the end of the week. You can vote for your favorite, and there are 3 lucky winners that will be able to get this Cool Penguin stamp and die set, which is just so cute. Details are over on the Stampendous blog, and I'll leave a link to that down in the description area so you guys can head on over there. But 3 winners will be drawn for the stamp set, and it's the winners are for U.S. addresses only. That was just in the rules, so I thought I would let you guys know that. But also, it's kind of a win-win, because the designer that has the most votes gets $50 to spend at the Stampendous shop. So I get to win, and you get to win too, or I get a chance to win, and you get a chance to win. So I encourage you to go over there and vote, guys. Okay, now I have to say too that creating an ugly sweater was a little bit of a challenge for me. I kept wanting to add flowers and make it cutesy, so I came up with something a little bit outside of the box, and so I get to share my process with you. Once we finished up coloring, and I colored in the whole penguin, and technically I don't think I had to do that because the sweater is going to cover up most of him, but I just wanted to show you how cute he is, or she is. She has little lashes, which is just adorable. Okay. Now I'm going to take the coordinating dies, and we'll just cut out our images. Now Stampendous dies are fantastic because they cut all the way to the line, the black line on the images, so you don't have a white border. So your sweater and your hat are going to layer on your penguin beautifully. Once those are die cut out, we'll just punch those out. We'll set our penguin aside, and then we're going to work on our hat and our sweater. Okay, now I have tons of seed beads in my stash, and so I have them in a little container, and I was organizing a little bit, and so they were sitting out, and I thought, well, we'll decorate our sweater and hat with seed beads. So I used my multimedia mat, and I'm going to start off by going over the green area of my sweater, and then also the green area on my hat. The seed beads that I chose, these aren't the original containers, actually. These are, I put them in there. I picked these come in 3 in a pack over at Walmart, and they're little glass containers, and they fit the beads beautifully. But I have a light green, a dark green, and then like a clear creamy color. So we're going to use just 3 colors today. I'll use my tweezers to help with this little process. I'll grab some scratch paper, and we're going to go over our sweater with both the light green and the dark green seed beads. And I used quite a bit of the multimedia mat, so the seed beads would stick all over my sweater. And I think that creates something really different. Okay, I'm going to grab another piece of scratch paper, and my intention was to pour my leftover beads since I mixed them, but it just didn't happen the way I wanted it to. But I'm just going to use my finger and kind of smush the seed beads on the glue. And then I'll grab my craft pick, and if I have to add a few more, I'll use my craft pick to add a few extras. And then I'll also push them up into the glue area because I don't want the green on the red area. And this adds quite a bit of dimension and sparkle too. I'm going to add a little bit more to my sweater here. This time I'm going to be using the clearish seed beads. The clear ones actually kind of look like little icicles. We'll go over the top of our sweater and also the sleeves of our sweater. Add a little more glue. Lovely. Now we'll do the same to our little hat. This time we'll go over the red areas. And I did put quite a bit of the multimedia matte on there. And when it dried beautifully. These seed beads aren't going nowhere. We'll add some more clear. We'll just kind of smush them down a little bit so they stick. We got to do this little sleeve here. So something a little bit different. And it didn't add too much bulk. I think my foam tape added more bulk than the seed beads. But it did add a little bit of weight. I do have to say it's a little bit heavy. But once that's done, we set that aside to dry, and we're going to work on our background panel. I cut out a panel that's 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use this embossing folder from my stash. To me, this looked like an igloo kind of a texture, so I embossed that panel. Now I'm going to take a slightly smaller panel. Now this panel here, let's see, is 3 1/2 inches by 4 3/4. And then I used a little dome-shaped die that I've had in my stash for 100 years, and I don't know the name of that die, but I thought it would create a perfect igloo window. So we'll die cut that out towards the lower portion of this panel. And then I'm going to use my hillside border die to create a snowbank. We're kind of going to ground our penguin on the snowbank. We'll die cut that out. Now once we have those die cut out, I'm going to take my panel here and place it in the same embossing folder. We're just going to run that through our die cut machine, and that way we have the background of our igloo has texture, and then so does the front. Okay, I already adhered my background to an A2 size card base, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I just taped it down with my tape runner. Now I'm going to add a little bit of color. I thought it was just a little too much white. Even though it did have texture, I thought we'd add some color. So using some Distress Oxide ink, this is Tumbled Glass, I added a little shading on my card base where my window will be. And then I'm going to go around the left and right and the top of the front part of my little igloo here. We're just going to add some foam tape and place that in the center of our card base. Lovely. Now I thought there was just a little too much white, so I brought in a black and white striped pattern paper. I'm going to adhere a thin strip to the bottom of my snowbank just to add a little extra something here. We'll take our tape runner and adhere that to the bottom of our card base. Lovely. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment. I chose the sentiment in the set that says "Have a cool Christmas." Once we stamp that with some VersaFine ink, I'm going to take a thought bubble or a speech bubble that I had in my stash, and we're going to die cut out our sentiment with that. I thought it'd be cute if our little penguin was talking to us. Okay, once we have that die cut, kind of figure out our placement. And we'll put him right next to the igloo door. I'm going to add some foam tape on the top. I'm actually going to double it up. and then I'll add one more piece on the bottom. This way, when I place it on my card base, everything's nice and even and flush, but I still have a little bit of dimension. Now before we add our sentiment, we'll go ahead and glue down our sweater and our little hat. And I'm using my multimedia mat for that as well. It was still a little bit wet, but when it dried amazing. Super sparkly. Now I'm going to add some foam tape behind my sentiment. We'll place that right above our little penguin here. Cute. Now we're going to bring in a little Christmas. And so I found a little candy cane. It's just a little epoxy sticker that I had in my stash for quite a while. I added that right below my penguin. And then that finishes off my card for today, my ugly sweater. I encourage you to go check out the Stampendous blog. Super fun ugly sweaters. Oh my gosh, just adorable. But thanks so much for stopping by, guys. I wish you a fantastic day, and we will see you again soon. Bye-bye.